If you like to make your NFL games a little bit more interesting, you've come to the right place. It's the Even Money Podcast with Ross Tucker and Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas. This is the Even Money Podcast, and let's eat, baby, because it's the Fantasy Feast Podcast as well. We're doing a little simulcast action, basically because we wanted to talk about the same exact thing on both shows. We want to talk about the NFL draft, prop betting, and what we want to be doing with it. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL on social media. Of course, Ross Tucker, the former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Most of you guys know that. You can always check us out on social at Ross Tucker Pod, and as well as youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. People love watching these shows. We're growing very quickly. Both Fantasy Feast and Even Money Podcast. My guy for Even Money is always the terrific Steve Fezzik at Fezzik Sports on social media. You can always check him out there. And Steve, let's get into the NFL draft and betting, because you and I were texting before we get into some of the prop bets, specifically with our guy John Daigle from the Fantasy Feast podcast. We were talking earlier about the draft. I've never experienced anything like this, Steve. 3 years ago, you couldn't have been more excited to talk about the draft and betting and whatever. And now I can tell you're not nearly the same.
Yeah, so as a professional gambler, one of my jobs is to evaluate how profitable something is. And the draft went from one of the greatest betting opportunities out there that I was basically forced to learn how to bet the draft and focus on it. And literally there's guys that were making low six figures year after year betting the draft. And it's dried up. You look at Vegas. Vegas wants nothing to do with booking this draft. The two sports books, Westgate and Circa, that cater to the biggest action, they don't even have any lines up. Circa's going to put $300 limits on it when they do put the lines up. Vegas has spoken. They've said, we've had it with this draft. It's too predetermined. The bettors get wind of where players are going, and they're rising and falling. And they're always right. When I say always, they build a portfolio that wins year after year after year. And Vegas is tired of losing on the draft. And thus Vegas is saying no mas. And they've taken their ball and basically gone home.
So that's so interesting to me, Steve, on multiple levels. Is there no way in your mind that they can book it and be on top of things and not lose? Isn't there a way to set odds such that, or just make the odds even tougher? You know what I mean? Make the odds even more in the favor of, against some of these things that they have, right? Make them steeper odds. I guess I'm surprised that they think the best solution is to just not really book it at all, or just have such low limits.
I think that the bid asks that they'd have to deal, like when they put an over under on some dude and they make him 11.5, Ross, they used to put him minus 110 in each direction. And then they made it minus 115. And I think that they're realizing, you know what, I would have to deal with an insulting level of vigorous, where literally for me to be profitable as a sportsbook, I'd have to charge my customers minus 140 in each direction. And they don't want to do that because of the bad PR. Not to mention the amount of capital, attention that it requires. It's a very busy time of year. You got the NHL playoffs starting, NBA playoffs starting, baseball, UFL. There's limited resources, and the sharpest bettors are nonstop updating on Twitter whenever one of the draft experts changes their mock draft, changes their position the dude's going to go on, his medical changes. They're on top of it, and the sports books just don't have the bandwidth. They'd have to hire 2 new guys to nonstop be monitoring that to try to get in front of it. And they have realized, hey, it's just not worth our time.
That is fascinating. It really, really is. Before we get into more NFL draft stuff, just curious where you're at with MLB with some of your season win bets, especially aren't the Dodgers like 3-6 in their last 9 games or something yet? You panicking on that one yet, Steve?
Oh, not at all. The Dodgers will be fine. I've got the Dodgers to have the best record in the league and over 103.5, and they're projected to win right around there. But let's look at these Dodgers, Ross. Look at who they've had to play. They've had to play the Cubs in 2 series now, projected to win their division. Detroit, projected to win their division. They played basically they had 3 games against Washington in the cold. So they had an East Coast road trip. They played the Phillies. They played Atlanta. So the Dodgers are playing Colorado, and they'll pound the Rockheads 3 in a row, and they'll be right back in front of their projections. So the Dodgers are going to win 111 games, or 100. Well, they'll probably win 107 games. We should be fine. I'll tell you who's not going to win 107: Colorado and the White Sox. You can bet this at DraftKings. They keep updating their season win numbers, Ross. They're both like in the mid 50s. I don't think Colorado's going to win 50 games. So that's a best bet playing Colorado. They'll be right around 54.5 when they put it back up under on Colorado. Look at that division. Oh my goodness, Giant Magic. Arizona's good. Padres are styling, and the Dodgers. Colorado didn't score a run in San Diego this past series. Welcome to sea level, Rockheads. It's going to be a long, long year.
Got it. Well, that is interesting when it comes to what's going on with the MLB. So it's interesting, Steve, from an MLB standpoint, you either like the best team or the worst team. You have nothing to do with the teams in the middle. You either have the team to have the best record or the teams to be under 54 wins.
Yeah, so if you want one team in the middle, I'd play Cleveland under. They're right around 81.5. They just swept the White Sox, but big deal. The White Sox are awful. So there's a team in the middle to fade. The Pirates. The Pirates might be awful, Ross. Skeens is pitching today. He's their ace. If he's not like a sub-2 ERA dude, automatic win every 5 games. The Pirates are hitting, get this, 190. That's the team batting average. That's not that used to be like the team that used to be the average batting average for like a pitching staff when the pitchers used to bat in the NL. No, that's the team. They're hitting 190. It's not like game 4. We're halfway into April. The Pirates are not winning 72 games. There's another under for you.
Wow. 190. I don't remember anybody hitting below like 220 when I used to follow it closer. And those guys those are bad hitters.
Yeah, Manny Sanguillen is not suddenly going to reappear and be like the stud hitting catcher for the Pirates. They have no bats.
All right, so obviously, people can use my code Ross at DraftKings to get the great deals, especially for first-time customers. What about people that really want to bet, Steve, the NBA playoffs? What are you thinking about the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, so we got the play-in games starting, and I'm a big proponent to play game 7s under across the board because the odds makers adjust those totals downward, but they never adjust enough. Well, the play-in games are similar to a game 7. Obviously, the 9-10 teams playing for survival, but the 7-8 teams absolutely. They don't want to drop to the 8th seed and have to play a game for their survival. So because of that, I played all 4 of the play-in games under. Got to it as early as I could. Some bettors beat me to the punch. All these totals have dropped precipitously, and I think it's the correct move. And even at the current numbers, you play all 4 of the games under, I think you're going to go 2-2 or 3-1, and I would get on that.
That doesn't sound that great. You're going to go 2-2 or maybe 3-1?
That's 62.5%, Ross. What I mean, if you go 3-1 and 2-2, that's 5-3. That's a pretty good record. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. It's funny the way you said it. It's just that you're gonna go 2-2, maybe 3-1. Like I don't know. It didn't sound that encouraging.
Believe me, if I could hit 62.5%, I would not be appearing with Ross Tucker on his podcast. I'd be on an island someplace quietly earning 15%.
How would you be earning 15%?
Oh, that's a good point. Well, just investing in various season win bets, etc. My point is, I would have $1 billion and I could do whatever I want.
Who do you think is the best, Steve? Like the best guy we've seen pro betting? I mean, is it Billy Walters or some guy we've never even heard of that is in the high 50s and we don't even know his name?
Gosh, that is a great question. Billy Walters, as far as betting, because he's not a handicapper, he's got analysts working for him and the like. So he's the gold standard of bettors. There's handicappers that are flying under the radar. There's a dude, no one knows about him, Jeff Berlin. I think his Twitter is JB Wins Big. His name's Jeff Berlin. Guy just plays player props in the NBA and hits 60%. Gives them out at 5 a.m. Pacific time, and he's awesome. My buddy over at Killer Sports, Carl Sack, the NBA guru, has won year after year after year, just quietly winning. So there's guys out there, they're not showing pictures of them driving Lambos and going to parties and having like stacks and stacks and bricks of high society cash, but they just quietly win.
All right, speaking of bets, I have an absolute lock for you guys, and that is Huel. Unbelievable fuel. Here's all you need to do. Visit Huel.com/even today and use my code EVEN to get 15% off your first order plus a free gift. Steve, you're a healthy guy now. Why don't you get the Black Edition ready to drink that I'm holding right now? It's a meal in a bottle. Perfectly balanced meal. 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, low in sugar. Here's the deal. I'm always driving my kids all over the place. We don't really have family meals. I wish we did, but that's just not a reality. So to be able to get Huel and get the vitamin C, it's cheaper than a coffee. It actually tastes pretty good. Try it out, just like I did, by visiting Huel.com/even today. Use my code EVEN to get 15% off your first order plus a free gift. Two things I really like: drinking Labatt Blue Light and getting free stuff for drinking Labatt Blue Light or doing something I was already going to do anyway. That's the deal with rewards.labattusa.com. It's called Buy Beer, Get Gear. Whenever and wherever you buy Labatt, just make sure you take a picture of the receipt and then upload it to rewards.labattusa.com. Then you can start to get sweet gear like that mini fridge. That's amazing. Rewards.labattusa.com. Yeah, that's the way to do it. All right, so let's get to an email question, Steve. And this comes from us. Actually, I think we got this question last week from Nick. I didn't get rid of that one. This is the guy that rated and reviewed us on Apple. He's the one with rugby union and darts and like, how do you avoid detection? Cam, our guy Cam has a teaser question. You guys talk a lot about teasing through the key numbers, and now that DraftKings offers such customizable lines, I was wondering your thoughts on just picking your line instead of just taking a classic 6-point teaser. For example, you want to take a 2-team teaser where one team is a 2.5 underdog and another a 1.5 underdog. Instead of a 6-point teaser to make the lines plus 8.5 and plus 7.5, why not just make both lines plus 7.5 and keep that extra juice? Love the show. Thank you for your time, Cam. So meaning you don't have to always do the teasers, because the classic 6-point teasers, because DraftKings allows you to customize your lines.
I believe the answer is when you customize it, you don't get as good of an odds as you do with just the blanket teaser where they have the minus 120. I'll look into it and like fool around with the task bars and moving, the spreads to different numbers. But in general, I don't think you'll do as well. One thing I will say, Ross, it used to be when you teased a plus 1.5 up to a plus 7.5, you're good. 8 doesn't land. And I'm getting more and more concerned that we're going to see more and more 8-point wins by NFL teams. Why? Because the word is out when a team is down 14 now late in the game and they score a touchdown, they don't kick the extra point anymore. They go for 2 to cut the lead to 6, or trail by 8. So 8's going to land more and more. And obviously, if your team loses by 8 and you tease up to plus 7.5, you wind up losing.
Wow. That's a good point. Really good point, Steve, in terms of 2-point conversions and how much of an impact that's having. We'll see in May about the tush push and what they end up doing there. I have a feeling they're going to come up with some. It's really interesting because they're going to come up with some type of rule change that they push through, I believe. The question will be, what kind of an impact does it really have? You know, we won't know that until we actually get to that point. Let's get to another question from John. He says, a question for Steve. Does he use technical indicators, trends, as well as a model to predict games? It seems that the NFL has such sharp lines that for anybody to be successful, they need to be using technical indicators. That's John. It looks like he's from Western PA. Do you have a model to predict games? Do you use technical indicators, Steve?
Yeah, ideally you do everything, Ross. So what I do is I have power ratings for each team. So boom, I got one team 3 points better than another team. They're playing on a neutral site. That team's a 3-point favorite. All right, well, that's just a starting point. Now we want to go ahead and take a look at any trends that may apply. Did the team win by 40 points the week before? Did the other team get shut out? There's all kinds of different trends that are plus and minus for a team. You know, to use a baseball example, one of the trends that applies today is when a team plays on Sunday night baseball and then they have to travel for a Monday night baseball game, that's a bad thing. That's a thing teams just are not used to doing. The Dodgers have to do that tonight. Well, they're traveling from home, but the Cubs are traveling to San Diego from LA. So you need to incorporate the spot, the situation, the travel, the trends, the matchups. So the power ratings, the technical analysis is just the starting point, and then you start tweaking. And we do this with every game. We talk about teams being in good and bad spots, of course.
You know, by the way, speaking of, draft prop bets, Steve, and what you're saying about Vegas, in Pennsylvania, you can't even bet on the draft. Like I pull up my DraftKings app and whether it's on the DraftKings app or, even if I have it online, there's no bets for the draft and there never has been. And I forget why that was. It's not like a college football thing, but I think it's because maybe they knew ahead of time that it wasn't going to be good. But Pennsylvania outlawed it before the books did.
Well, think about the draft. In some ways, it's similar to like predicting the Gatorade color or the length of the national anthem. It's predetermined. There are some teams, certainly the number 1 pick is predetermined. Tennessee knows who they're going to take. And because of that, it isn't decided on the playing field. And this is where the books get in trouble, that even if they put up a bad line on a game, all right, and they make the spread 7 and the spread closes 5 and 5 is correct, the books can still win. I mean, you can have a situation where the underdog doesn't cover the plus 7, but those don't happen in the draft. If a team knows they're going to take a dude and he's there, they take him. And so the variance is so much less in the draft than being anything decided on the playing field.
Todd has a question for us, Steve. I love it. We're getting to a bunch of questions today. He said, I listen to the Even Money podcast weekly. My book offers 3-team, 6-point teasers that pay 3-2. They also offer 6-team, 6-point teasers that pay 5.5-1. 13-point, 4-team teasers, ties lose, and minus 140 juice. Is there value in any of these teaser options? Keep up the good work, Todd. First of all, Todd, your book should be DraftKings, and you should use the code Ross. And we've already established that as far as we know and can tell, they have the best teaser odds of anyone anywhere. So let me get that out of the way just to start. But also, that's what he has again, Steve. 3 teams, 6-point teasers, pay 3 to 2. 6 teams, 6-point teasers, 5.5 to 1. 13-point, 4-team teasers, ties lose, minus 140 juice.
I think there might be value with the big teasers where you're getting 13 points, but I've never priced it. To answer the question, the 3-teamer, you need plus 160. So he's getting 3 to 2, which is only plus 150. So he's not getting enough to play the 3-team teaser. The 6-point teaser at 5.5 to 1 is inadequate. Think about how good these teaser odds used to be, Ross. You used to be able to get even money on a 2-teamer. Well, if you get even money on a 2-teamer, that's like getting 3 to 1 on a 4-teamer. And that's like getting 7 to 1 on a 6-teamer. So you used to get 7 to 1 effectively, and now you're down to 5.5 to 1. It's just too much implied vig per leg. So no good on the 6-team teaser.
I have been enjoying my Smirnoff vodka more and more this offseason. Certainly, we got spring break coming up for my daughters. That sounds like a really good Smirnoff crafting delicious cocktails time. There's not really much debate over who the number 1 pick's going to be. It's going to be Cam Ward to the Titans, just like Smirnoff is the world's number 1 vodka and my number 1 pick because you don't have to pay $1 zillion for it. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please not share with anyone under legal drinking age. All you need to know about Smirnoff is not only are they the official vodka of the NFL, they're the official vodka of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. These people have exquisite taste. Smirnoff, yum, get some. I mean, Steve, in general, right? I'm not stereotyping, but in general, you're probably not going to, like most of these people that say, what about this odd? What about that odds? It's probably not usually going to be in the person's favor, right?
Correct, but there's still some 3-teamer, some shops that pay plus 160 and plus 170 on 3-teamers, and those are fine. You can play those. A little more variance, obviously, when you go to 3 teams.
We like to have fun sometimes as well, Steve. So I might get you another email, but in the meantime, you want to tell everybody about, do you get paid by this? Why do you want to tell people about a secret Vegas? Is it $5.95 cheeseburger, or is it called the $5.95 cheeseburger?
All right, so let me back.
It's hard to decipher your text sometimes, Steve.
Well, I'm texting you 2 in the morning, and I'm not even sober, maybe. Vegas built itself on 99-cent shrimp cocktails and really good deals. And Vegas has gotten away from that. Now we got these huge resort fees and cocktails are $25. And there's one place in town that understands, hey, give people good gamble, good whiskey, good odds, cheap food, and they'll come there. And that's the South Point. They've got these great late night specials. But what I'm thrilled to see is that Station Casinos, local casino here, they say there's no more good deals in Vegas. Well, they got a deal for you. 24 hours a day now, Ross. You can go into your local station spot, Green Valley Ranch, Red Rock Station, for $5.95. You get a cheeseburger, big cheeseburger, and fries 24/7. It's not just a midnight special. And you know what? They have 50% redemption days for points on Wednesdays. So if you use points, you're basically getting burger and fries for $3. That, my friend, is a great deal.
How does it compare to the food at Starbucks?
Oh gosh, I'm like old. Call Caesar Security. We got an old senior citizen. He's railing about like the cake pops costing $6.95 at Starbucks and the bad croissant costing $8 and the cookie costing $7 because the rents are so high that Starbucks basically charges double at Caesar's Palace than they do anywhere else. And it just drives me, and it's the worst service in the world there, the employees, because no employee wants to have to commute into Caesar's to work at a Starbucks. So avoid the Starbucks at Caesar's.
By the way, I was just teasing, clearly. We'll actually do the draft prop bets with John next week. So be looking for draft prop bets with John Daigle next week, which I'm really looking forward to. John, remember he came on last year. It's a big reason why he's actually the co-host of the Fantasy Feast podcast. Does a terrific job. All right, let's go to Gaetano. We've never gotten this many email questions before. Ross at rosstucker.com. Never gotten to this many email questions before. It's fantastic. I love it. All right, this is from Gaetano. Thank you for answering my previous question about the same game teasers. I have another one for Steve. Is it better to pay the extra 10% VIG to get your teaser below or above an integer for Wong teasers? For instance, last night, this is during the season, I teased the Texans up to +8 versus the Jets at -110 instead of +8.5 to avoid risking -120. I'm regretting the decision because the teaser pushed instead of winning. What's the best strategy in these situations and expected ROI over the long term?
What a great question. And we talked about the incidence of a game landing on 8. So I have to actually study this. I will get back to you. But the key here is we got 2 1.5 point dogs, Ross. So do we put them in 6-point teaser -120 and take that 1.5 up to 7.5? Do we take them up to +8 in a 6.5 point teaser, or up to +8.5 with a 7-point teaser? And I'm really not sure. I can tell you personally, I take it up to +8 because I don't want to lose if a game lands 8, because the 8 landing more often. I will get back to you on what the math says, and I should have priced this out previously.
That's okay. I like sometimes when it's close enough or something that you can't. It's rare, Steve, for you not to be able to do something in your head. Very rare.
Yeah, and this I'm sure it's close. But all things being equal, remember, it's much better to save a tie versus a loss, because now I'm laying vig. So I'm saving 1.2 units to get the tie. And then when I get the win, I'm only making an extra unit. So a good rule of thumb is it's more likely I want to get the tie than I want to try to steal the win and pay more vig.
Make sure you check us out next week. It's our pre-draft episode, going to be epic. He's at Fezzik Sports. I'm at Ross Tucker NFL. Good luck, everybody. Hope you guys win some money.
Thanks for tuning in to Even Money. Make sure to also check out the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.